Now, our top story of the day. Hours after the Alaska summit ended, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and US President Donald Trump have confirmed that the Ukrainian president will be coming to DC on Monday afternoon to meet the US president. Trump has also said that if the meeting works out, then they will schedule a meeting with the Russian president. This comes after Zelensky confirmed that he held a call with Trump and European Union leaders lasting over an hour and a half. In the teleconference, they discussed positive signals from US on security guarantees and Europe's involvement in any future talks. Zelensky said that Ukraine is ready for constructive cooperation while supporting a trilateral format for peace discussions. According to Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk, the meeting concluded with them working on a joint statement on the way forward. Meanwhile, Trump reportedly told Zelensky and the European leaders that Russian President Vladimir Putin does not seek a ceasefire, preferring a comprehensive agreement to end the war. Trump reportedly also said that a fast peace deal is better than a ceasefire. We're now joined by Keith Vaz, who is a former UK minister. He joins us live from London to discuss this ever-developing situation. Keith, your reaction to the news that President Zelensky will visit Washington on Monday, and also some positive developments coming out of a call with European leaders, along with the Ukrainian president, directly after this meeting with President Putin.
Good morning, Thomas, from London. I think that this is a very positive development. I am very excited about what is going on. We all seem to be living through a most remarkable period in our history where you don't have to go through diplomatic circles. Leaders can get together, have discussions, shake hands, and make deals. This is what makes the Trump administration so fascinating. It is a roller coaster ride because you don't know what's going to happen in the end. But this ever-moving story is something that we should all welcome enormously. First of all, I think most of the world would regard the meeting with President Putin and Trump as being a bit of a letdown. I think people were expecting a ceasefire at the end of it. At the press conference, the press were expecting the chance to put questions and get answers from the leaders. None of that happened, but the fact that the meeting took place is, I think, more important than the outcome of the meeting, because otherwise you can go around in circles, you can send special envoys, you can make sure that you have your secretaries of state and your foreign ministers out there, but at the end, the decision will be made by these two men. So even though I think everyone's disappointed and opponents of President Trump will say, you didn't get your ceasefire, the fact of the meeting is so critical. I think the fact that he's then phoned President Zelensky immediately and asked him to come to Washington on Monday is also very welcome, because he could have said, now it's up to you. You and President Putin need to meet. I will brief you over the telephone, and you both of you should meet and discuss how to take matters forward. And I'm out of it. I've broken the ice. I've not broken the deal, but I'm out of it. He then had to speak to his European leaders. You see, what the President of the United States has that the President of Russia doesn't have, at least at this moment, Thomas, is that he has allies. He's got all the European countries. He's got, obviously, Ukraine, and he's got other countries beyond that. President Putin has nobody on his side of the chessboard of that significance except himself. Of course, there's India and China, but they're not going to be part of this. This is not their war.
Yes.
So they're going to be off camera. So this is a very, very important development.
Yes, Keith. Donald Trump hasn't spoken to any reporters like he usually does since finishing this meeting with Vladimir Putin. However, we have got the news, of course, that Zelensky is going to Washington. But he did say also that he says that Vladimir Putin doesn't seek a ceasefire. And he says he prefers that he prefers a comprehensive agreement to end the war. Do you find this at all worrying? Is the Russian president perhaps buying time?
I think it's very worrying, because that's the number one item on the agenda of both President Zelensky and President Trump, a ceasefire. I don't see how, in diplomatic circles, you can get an agreement, a comprehensive agreement, without a ceasefire. So basically, you're saying, we carry on fighting until we agree what's at the end, but we don't know what's at the end, because by the time we get to the end, we would have taken over another half of Ukraine, or Ukraine would have taken over a section of Russia. So it's a very odd, it's a very Putin-like solution, which is you carry on to the end, very Russian, and then we will have the ceasefire. Whereas the Americans are saying, and Zelensky, well, let's stop now, have a ceasefire, and get that comprehensive agreement. It's not a small thing, this. It's a very, very big gap between the two negotiating powers. I suppose it means that Donald Trump has nothing else left up his sleeve. Sanctions have not really worked because Russia has carried on. International isolation has not worked because you have President Putin being clapped on American soil, a US president clapping him on a red carpet. So it's a big victory for him. So if you give him all that in advance, how on earth do you get the ceasefire? What's left? You've frozen all the money. 330 billion is frozen in European bank accounts. So what's your sanction now? I mean, I don't know what is left for the allies to do, apart from hope that Putin is fed up. Too many people have died, and let's have a ceasefire.
Yes.
But of course, without the ceasefire, you can't get the agreement. That's the problem.
Yes, of course, Keith. Fascinating what's going on. We now